And welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben, and this is my review for 777 Charlie. Non-spoiler review, although I will talk about kind of minor plot points to give you an idea of what you can expect from this dog, man, beast film. Will you enjoy it? Do you need tissues? All of that coming up. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It does mean that the algorithm kind of shoots me up to the top when people kind of hit the like button. So that does help. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's jump in. The protagonist is stuck in a rut with his negative and lonely lifestyle and spends each day in the comfort of his loneliness. A pup named Charlie enters his life and gives him a new perspective on it. Okay, so this is one of those films that I've been asked to review, and it's one of those films that it's very hard to find. Thankfully, I did find a showing, so I managed to find it. So if you do, I highly recommend you giving this a go if you like dog movies. And now for my little bit of spoiler at the beginning, just 10 seconds, so you can skip 10 seconds and just to let you know about the dog. If you are a dog lover and you can't handle dog injury or dog death, then this may be a film that you may want to miss. So the film has 3 parts really to it. It's just under 3 hours. The first hour is introducing our protagonist who's living this life where he smokes so much, he drinks a lot, he has a very routine life, and he doesn't want anybody to kind of interfere with that. And in comes Charlie, and he ends up somehow, not giving spoilers, with this dog in his life, not really enjoying that. If you've ever seen the film called Turner and Hooch or Beethoven, the destruction that comes from the relationship that is not in sync with each other rather than just butting heads with each other, that is what you get within the first hour of this. Once they kind of establish who they are to each other and the symbiotic nature of a relationship starts forming, then we have this next hour of that relationship kind of forming and people's trying to understand, well, this guy used to not like anybody and now he's meant to be caring for somebody else. There's also this kind of animal welfare storyline that kind of sneaks in the back, and this woman that's trying to make sure that he looks after Charlie, which, you know, everybody should be looking after Charlie. And then the last hour is this journey, this beautiful journey between Charlie and our protagonist who go on this journey to find snow. And that's all relative to what's happening in the film. It makes sense. So we have this really great 3-tiered arc. It really sets it up nicely, and then we do get a couple of music. They're not music numbers, the songs that actually play a part in the story that happen to be there, so it's realistic rather than people breaking out into a dance number or suddenly there's a music video in between it. The music when they're singing kind of fits and it's edited in really nicely. There's a couple of really creative dog shots as well. Right at the beginning, you'll notice like how they're being using like a 3D camera to kind of zoom around the dog. So the filmmaking techniques without it make it quite exciting to watch, but it's not an exciting film. It's a drama about love of animals and how actually animals, if you've ever had a dog in your life, can change who you are. Now my dad, just giving you like a personal story, my dad when I was growing up was a guide dog trainer, so I grew up with a plentiful dogs. I've seen we had our own pets and a lot of them were dogs, and I've seen some dogs die, and that's always really hard to outlive your dogs. I don't know what it is, but dogs particularly, there's a reason why they say it's man's best friend. And so they showcase that very well on screen, how the relationship unfolds and they end up being massive best friends. But then something happens to move that story on to where there is this melancholy sadness for about an hour and a half of the film. About midway through, you just start feeling sad. Even though it's a happy film, you kind of know something's going to happen at the end. It's rooting that way. So you're rooting for them to have these experiences to get together, to have the best day together. You kind of want them to survive, but you know something's going to happen. This is an impending doom, which is why the journey part of the arc of this movie is so important to the story, to have you emotionally engaged. This is a film, and I'm not afraid to say that it is a man cry film. It will bring tears to your eyes and you'll have that lump in your throat for a long time. It's one of those films that really plays on your emotions, and I don't think it's fake emotion. I think the acting with the dogs in combination, this partnership on screen, is done excellently, beautifully done. My parents' most recent dog, they had an Alsatian named Marley. I know, a mistake naming the dog Marley. And he had something wrong. He was in a lot of pain with his hind legs, and eventually they had to put him down because it just wasn't a good way of life. But they gave him a bunch of medication to have one final good day, and gave him his best day. The best food that he ever wanted to eat, go to the beach and play in the sea. Has a very similar aesthetic to what they do with Charlie and our protagonist here in this film. It's a really sweet kind of look at death, what death is coming, how we relate to that, how we deal with that, and what comes after that. And the shaping of our character within that makes it just a wonderful story to be a part of, to emotionally engage you in such a way that grips your heart and your throat. And at the end, you're like, yeah, that was great. That was a great film. But you're still dealing with your own emotions. I think the director accomplished what they set out to do. It's going to be one of my favorite dog films. I have Homeward Bound, I have Beethoven because of the comedy, and there is comedy in here. It's just not slapstick. It's just, you'll laugh. You'll know when it's funny because of what our characters are going through. There are great heartfelt moments, the same like Homeward Bound, and then there's Turner and Hooch character development within this. I'm referencing all the dog movies that I really enjoy because it'll give you an idea, especially if you're coming from the UK or the US and you haven't gone out to see this. If you're a dog lover and you have dogs, this is going to be one for you, but bring the tissues. I don't think there's anything different they could have done with this. I even like the length of the film because of how much they are able to put in the life and story of these characters. So it's 5 Nicolas Cages out of 5 for me. I really think this is worth your time. Emotionally engaging, well crafted, interesting, lovable film, but probably going to make you cry. Let me know your thoughts down below. What did you think of the acting? If you haven't seen it yet, are you going to venture out to watch it? Are you going to try and find it at your closest cinema? Maybe partition to try and get it in one of your screens, closer to your screens, because I know it doesn't have many places showing. It's quite hard to find, which is probably why it hasn't done as much as they wanted to do, but definitely worth going to find it if you can. Thanks so much for watching this, but most of all, until next time, remember,